Hey everyone, it's Kate from Wild Tales Of. If you're new here on YouTube and on my blog, wildtalesof.com, I share about family travel and outdoor adventure. Welcome to those of you who might be newly watching, and welcome back if you have hung out with us before. So we are out just on an urban hike today, kind of in a green space area that is right here in our neighborhood. We live in Seattle's central area. The kids love to come here to this forested area and come explore. And so because we were doing that, it made me think of something that I wanted to share, and that is how to add more outdoor time to your summer or whatever season that you might be having. We managed to get outside quite a bit, so I decided to kind of do some brainstorming and pick my own brain and think of the ways that we actually make that happen. So the first thing that I recommend, and if you know us, then you know we've said this a million times, or we say it all the time, and that is to create a rhythm, a routine, some kind of regular practice or plan that allows you to obviously repeat that behavior over and over again. So our number one way is that we have a set time every single day. We might do it more often each day, but always during the weekdays, we go on a walk when my husband Slade gets home from work. And so he gets home, he goes in early, and so he's able to get home a little bit earlier. And so as soon as he gets home, it's our routine. He changes and we all head out on a walk, and we have about half a dozen or so walks that we just choose from every day. Sometimes it centers around an errand that we have, or sometimes it centers around an activity that the kids want to do. Like yesterday, Bergen really wanted to practice some tennis, and so we made sure that we went to a park that had a wall that he could hit the tennis ball against. But anyway, the point of that one is that we create a daily rhythm, at least through the weekdays, so that it allows us to always count on that time that we have outside. Another suggestion is to set a goal, and it could be a family goal that everybody maybe has a family meeting around and decides that we want to reach this particular milestone or goal or what have you in a certain amount of time, but it means that everyone is working towards some kind of goal. So this could be maybe the number of steps you take in a day, because obviously you probably need to get outside in order to do that. Or it could be the number of minutes that you want to reach every day, or maybe the number of minutes you want to reach in a certain amount of time, like you wanted to get 100 hours outside in a month or something like that. I know that there is a challenge out there, and I can link it below. I think it's 1,000 hours outside in a year, and there are some different charts and things that you can use to track that. Another fun way to set a goal is to decide on certain places that you want to visit outside. There is someone here locally that she set a goal to visit all the Seattle parks in a year, and I can also link that below. It's really cool. And then she ended up writing a book, which is so neat. When Bergen was a baby, I didn't quite meet it, but it allowed us to get outside a ton, was that I wanted to visit it's a little bit funny to explain, but basically Seattle has a ton of sister cities. So sister cities all around the world that they have that relationship with. And so within our city, there are different parks and landmarks that are dedicated to that sister city relationship. So when Bergen was a baby, I set a goal to try to visit all of the landmarks and parks that had to do with those sister cities. So it kind of allowed us to travel in our own city. Along those same lines of setting goals is to another creative thing that you can do is to create a family bucket list. So that bucket list is obviously going to center around things to do outside. So you might, as a family, create a bunch of activities that you want to do outside, whether that's different sports, different activities having to do with water. And that is something, we haven't done it in a while, or different places that you want to visit, but everything goes on the list, and maybe you print it out and stick it on, or write it up and put it on the refrigerator, and everyone can kind of contribute. And it's something that we haven't done in a little while, but we have done in the past, and we actually did it seasonally. So I'll link below kind of one from each of the different seasons, because I tried to think of, and we even put projects on there. So say, like an example of a project might be rock painting. So that's kind of a fun thing to do. Well, it's really fun to do any time of year, but you have to go out in nature and collect rocks, and then you can paint them. And now you could do that outdoors or indoors. But then the fun part is that you can go hide them, and in hopes that other folks will find those rocks, and maybe it'll make them smile. Another project that we did in winter was to make our own bird feeders. And so we just went on one particular walk where we found a bunch of pine cones, fallen pine cones, then went home into the backyard and assembled the bird feeders, just simple way of using peanut butter and birdseed. Oh wow.
Yeah, only 5 inches.
Oh, that's where the dog, you heard the dog?
No, came over.
Oh, he did?
Yep.
So those ways, the bucket list and the making a routine and setting goals, I kind of think of those as anchors and setting your family up for getting some more outdoor time. And then these next suggestions are kind of just things to think about, things to explore, things to try, because in trying them, and you might put some of these on your bucket list if you decide to create one, and in trying them you are going to create a lot more outdoor time. I've had friends where it's been difficult to set a routine and their kids kind of resist it, and they want to just kind of keep doing what they're doing inside, or they get some pushback from mom and dad wanting to go and venture outside. And so these things, the next kind of things that I'm suggesting, might give you that little oomph or that little boost just to get out the door. And so the first thing is scavenger hunts. So if you search on Pinterest and just Google scavenger hunts for kids, and even search your local area or search the type of terrain that you're happen to be visiting, you're gonna come up with a ton of free scavenger hunts. We have 4 scavenger hunts that are seasonal. So there's one scavenger hunt for every season, and they're where I have half a dozen or so items in nature to go out and find, and they're all based around what season it happens to be. I tried to pick some things that stick out for that season, things that make that season really unique. So you might, like for example, in the winter, it's easier to see animal tracks, because if you live in a rainy place like us, they are going to come up, you're going to see them more in the mud. Or if you live in a snowy place, you're going to see them more in the snow. And so the scavenger hunt doesn't have to be seasonal. I even have a scavenger hunt on our blog that is for Seattle specifically, and so it's finding like fun landmarks in Seattle. And so if you do some searching, you might find something like that. Or there are, of course, some really generic options out there too, and those can be really fun as well. And then 2 more things that are along the lines of scavenger hunts that you could consider getting your family into, and it might help you get out the door, are geocaching and letterboxing. And so I've done a video on geocaching, so I won't go into explaining all it is. It is kind of a type of scavenger hunt where you're actually looking for these little caches that are hidden throughout, they're hidden everywhere in the country. And so you get on your phone and there's an app and you get clues to go and find that. But I'll leave a link below for all about geocaching. And then letterboxing is kind of similar to geocaching, although you use actual clues to find different things. And we have a blog post that I'll link below also on letterboxing. It's just another kind of a fun scavenger hunt type of activity. But those scavenger hunts, especially when they involve a little bit of technology, maybe even taking photos, they just kind of bridge that gap and give you that extra boost, like I said earlier, to get out the door. I know a lot of families, we haven't tried it, but a lot of families also enjoy doing that Pokemon Go. We haven't tried it, but I know that that is also a way to get kids outside and where they can still use, they're still using technology, and it kind of pairs maybe something that they're really interested in, like their phone, or using kind of like a computer game, but then it gets them outside searching for these Pokemons. And Bergen actually just corrected me that I wasn't supposed to say that you search for Pokemon. I was supposed to say you don't search for Pokemons, you search for Pokemon characters. Wow, that's an old book.
Yeah.
Here's a little bonus. Get out the door is books. If your kids are really into books, tell them that you're gonna go on a little free library walk. Another super motivating thing that has gotten us outside and kind of doing things that we normally wouldn't do or we wouldn't think of, just getting us out of our routine, is a subscription service called Think Outside Boxes. Bergen's gonna tell you what a Think Outside box is.
Think Outside boxes are boxes that you get every month, and they have basically like a theme. Like there's a campfire one,
Clouds,
food,
sky.
clouds, yes, and then they have things in it. So like
That have to do with,
yep, that, and they have special little jokes.
yes,
And you get
and
some.
there's a whole, what?
There's a whole like booklet guide
And what does that do?
that teaches you all about it.
Exactly.
And it comes with stuff.
So give an example of some things that came in a Think Outside box.
Okay.
There was a food one that was kind of based around cooking outside, right?
Yes.
So what came in that?
So there was some, what are those? Fork
A spork?
sporks that like plastic, no, real plastic. They were like colors.
Yeah.
And they also had this thing like you could bake
Right.
Rice Krispies.
Instructions on
Yes,
creating
and
a
then they
solar
had-
oven.
Yeah, they had the materials.
All the things you needed.
And
Yep.
you just used the box to make a solar oven.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you enjoy Think Outside boxes?
Yep.
Yeah. Our last thing that we want to share to just get you out the door and add those minutes for your outdoor time are,
Invite a friend.
what do you like about inviting friends outside?
Since like you get to play with them.
Is it a lot more fun to hike with a friend? Why do you say that?
It just makes you a lot more fun and it makes you have more company.
Yeah. Why do you like hiking with friends or going
Well, because
outside?
you can talk to them about like Minecraft.
You can
and-
talk to them about your interests, maybe some things that your mom doesn't want to talk about so much, right? Yes, I am always so surprised by how the minutes just fly by, and the enjoyment and engagement and everything is just so much more when we invite friends along. So we've made our way back home from our little city walk, and I wanted to say thanks so much for joining us. And as we were walking back, another idea dawned on me that another way to add some more outdoor time to your routine, to your schedule this summer, or whenever you happen to be watching this, is to start a garden. When you start a garden, you realize how much care and tending that it needs if you want it to be successful. Of course, you have to get out there and water it, and you've got to get the weeds out, and you've got to make sure that pests aren't going crazy on it, on your plants. So even if it's just a small container garden on your back porch or your front porch or wherever works for you in your situation, starting a garden or just having some plants to tend to can be a kickstart to adding some more outdoor time to your schedule. So with that, thanks again so much for joining us. If you enjoyed our video and if you want to see more, make sure to hit that like button, and we would love for you to consider subscribing so that you can join us on all of our travel adventures, all of our adventures around Seattle, and just our videos that we create to help encourage families to get outside more. Oh, and of course, if you have a suggestion for how you were able to add more outdoor time into your schedule, into your family's schedule, or what particular thing worked for your kids or for yourself or for your spouse, please share those suggestions below, because I'd love for this to be more of a community thing where we're all sharing and growing together. So we hope that you are staying happy and healthy, and we hope you are getting out and having some brave, wild adventures, and we'll see you next time.